Just as Haruchika Isazaki confesses to his first love, he is suddenly summoned to another world. His summoner, the goddess Clementine, gives him an unusual mission: to make 7 girls, destined to become the mothers of the next generation of heroes, fall in love again. These girls have lost their ability to love due to a curse cast by the Demon King. In other words, Haruchika must make them fall for him, to return to his world and hear the answer to his confession. Haruchika accepts this mission and sets out to save another world through love. Having mastered the art of romance through psychology and become a love master, his journey to fulfill his first love begins now, a romantic tale of saving another world through the power of love. A boy in a school uniform kneels on one knee atop the rooftop, facing a girl. With his hand extended, he murmurs her name, Kiriyama-san, and confesses his feelings, asking her to go out with him. He's a second-year high schooler, Haruchika Isazaki, and in this moment, he holds his breath, eyes shut, head bowed. I finally made it this far, he thinks. All my effort was for this. Seconds pass in silence. He opens his eyes, lifts his head to call her name again. But the rooftop is gone, that he's now standing in a vast golden field that stretches endlessly beneath a blazing sky. Panic sets in as he looks around, shouting in confusion. As he was just at school, he calls for her again, voice trembling, but there's no reply. As he takes a step forward, trying to make sense of it all, a voice calls from behind, welcoming him as her beloved master. He stumbles back as a breathtaking woman descends from the sky, dressed like a goddess. Floating beside her is a small angelic being. With an amused smile, she confirms his name. He stammers, demanding to know who she is. Her smirk deepens. She introduces herself as the goddess Clementine, and without waiting for his reaction, declares that she has a request, one he has no right to refuse, so he'd best not waste time complaining. He yells out, demanding to know if all of this is her doing, waving a hand toward the surreal landscape around him. She confirms it without hesitation. His frustration boils over as he accuses her directly, furious that she interrupted his confession. With an elegant gesture, she calmly replies that she's the one who summoned him here. Pointing at her, he growls, demanding how she could dare ruin such a critical moment. Unfazed, she replies that she had no idea what he was doing. His voice rises, asking what she just said, but she only smiles, telling him to relax. She'll return him to that exact moment, but only if he agrees to hear her request. The small angel beside her gently pleads for calm. He clenches his fists, grumbling that she'd better send him back to the moment of his confession. She nods, his eyes widen. Really? Her voice turns playful as she warns that doubting a goddess is blasphemy. He scratches his nose, muttering under his breath, asking what exactly she wants from him. Her answer comes like thunder, save the world. He recoils, shouting at her over the top tone. Glancing at the angel, she clarifies that it's not like she's asking him to defeat the Demon King or anything. That guy was already taken care of last week. His brain freezes. Last week. She nods, adding that the Demon King will be revived in 30 years, that he nearly chokes. He's going to be revived? She casually confirms it, saying the next generation will handle him as scheduled. The angel quickly chimes in, correcting her that it's not a schedule, it's destiny. She laughs it off with a flippant apology, then grows serious. Just before dying, the Demon King casts one final curse, that a truly absurd one. He mutters that the curse sounds like a problem she brought upon herself. She sighs, admitting it's just something the Demon King did to annoy her. Troublesome, really. The angel gently adds that after being revived and defeated hundreds of times, the Demon King has grown spiteful. Still confused, he demands what any of this has to do with him. The goddess's expression lights up with mischievous interest. That, she says, is where it gets interesting. The curse has stolen the feeling of love from 7 women, those who were destined to become the mothers of the future heroes, that he repeats the phrase, baffled. Feeling of love. Her voice sharpens as she accuses him of mocking her. He clearly isn't taking her seriously, and that hits a nerve. She snaps, shouting that without love, there's no magic, no marriage, no intimacy, meaning the next generation of heroes can't even be born. The angel tries to soothe her, urging calm, and after a deep breath, she regains her composure. With renewed conviction, she explains that to restore the power of love, she summoned a sage of romance from another world. Her hand points directly at him as she declares his new title, Love Master Isazaki Haruchika. He recoils in horror, yelling that the name is way too embarrassing. What does this even have to do with me? This is insane. She glances toward the angel and questions if he's really the one. He doesn't even give off love master vibes. Who'd fall for someone this unreliable? The angel quietly reminds her that she's the one who picked him. Meanwhile, he stares at the two of them, feeling invisible. When he finally snaps and calls her a useless goddess, she shrieks, offended. He shrugs, saying it's true he's mastered all knowledge about love, but winning her over seems impossible. Beautiful women are usually easier to charm. That catches her off guard. She gasps, demanding an explanation, then charges at him in outrage that he dodges the question, turning to the angel with a sly comment. But the angel snaps too, yelling not to drag her into it. The goddess loses it, lunging for his throat, but before she can grab him, he pulls her clothes. She freezes, flustered by the sudden proximity, yelping at how close they are. His hand rests gently against her back. She jerks back, shouting that he's being disrespectful and demanding to be released. But as his eyes lock with hers, something shifts. Tears well up in hers as she stammers, begging him not to look at her that way, insisting she's not a beauty that he doesn't answer. His grip on her waist tightens as he leans in, gaze unwavering, and murmurs that while it's easy to win over someone beautiful, she's far more than just that. Her breath catches Darren away. Before she can respond, he presses a hand to her shoulder and pushes her back slightly, voice tinged with frustration. Even now, you still won't take me seriously. She tries to answer, but her voice falters that he exhales sharply, lets her go, and she stumbles to the ground. Watching her, he smirks, half to himself, wondering if he might have gone a little too far. Gibralt gasps in pure shock, calling it incredible. Both the goddess and the so-called love master are now entangled in something real. The angel shouts, demanding to know what just happened. He shrugs, brushing it off as just a small illusion. Gibralt blinks. Illusion? He nods, explaining that if a stranger suddenly invades your space, it's off-putting, maybe even alarming. So instead, he provoked interest, drawing her in first. When she stepped closer, he used that momentum to slip into her personal space that a direct approach might have triggered discomfort, but this shifted the dynamic. The key, he says, is timing. As she approached, he locked eyes and matched his breathing to hers. Gibralt stared. Breathing? He explained. Close couples naturally sensed by mimicking that. Her body responded, heart racing, attraction chemicals surging. With her primed, a low whisper was all it took. Resistance became nearly impossible. Gibralt watches, stunned, whispering, amazing. He admits to himself that if the trick had failed, he could have backed off gracefully. But now he's the one caught off guard. Did I ask this goddess really that easy to fool? Gibralt remains silent, eyes wide with newfound understanding that no wonder they call him the Love Master. Meanwhile, the goddess remains on the ground, crouched and wide-eyed, still processing what just happened as he turns toward her, asking if conquering those 7 girls would truly grant his return. Inwardly, he wonders, why did I go through all this? Why did I sacrifice everything just to master this ridiculous skill? Her voice finally cuts through, promising that yes, she'll keep her word. His thoughts drift back to the rooftop, to Kiriyama-san, to the moment he was ripped away that it was all for that confession. He reminds himself. All he wants is her answer. He has to return. Reaching a decision, he extends a hand toward the goddess and agrees. She grabs it and rises shakily, muttering that after all the disrespect she's endured, there's no way she could possibly, then trails off. He scoffs, dismissing her hesitation as nonsense. She draws a deep breath, exhales, and collects herself before raising her hand high. Her voice rings out dramatically, calling for a reset. Love Master Haruchika Isazaki must restore love in all 7 hearts to return. Until each one falls for him, he's trapped. His fists clench as the truth sinks in. Failure means no way back. The goddess nods, satisfied, and announces her departure. She leaves everything in Jibril's hands. The angel stumbles forward, protesting, but before she can finish, the goddess vanishes with a snap of her fingers. Jibril sighs in exasperation, muttering that she always does this. Turning back to him with a resigned smile, she offers a sincere apology on behalf of their goddess. He chuckles, noting that it seems she's got it rough too. Jibril brushes it off, declaring with a smile that supporting the Love Master is her job now. She grabs his hand confidently. He nods, asking her to stop calling him that ridiculous title. She tilts her head, suggesting simply Master instead. He raises an eyebrow and asks her to let go of his hand if that's the case. She obliges, and he straightens up, asking what he's supposed to do next. Without a word, she gestures toward the ground beneath him, and a magic circle begins forming around his feet. Suddenly, both are lifted into the air. He yells out in panic, realizing they're floating, but Jibril reassures him they're not going to fall. She then begins explaining that their first destination is the Night Academy, located in the royal capital of the Filio Kingdom, Merkel. He repeats the name in surprise. She points toward a distant structure shimmering like a dream, towering and grand that he stares awestruck. Even with gods and angels involved, this feels more fantasy than reality. Jibril continues, explaining that the first girl is the youngest daughter of a noble warrior clan known for hunting monsters near the Demon King's border. Instinctively, he imagines a rough, intimidating girl who likely isn't easy on the eyes, and mutters whether it's asking too much for someone like her to fall in love. Jibril ignores the comment and states she's already arranged everything. He's now an exchange student from another kingdom, placed in the same class, and seated right next to his target, that he panics, shouting that he doesn't even know the rules of this world. Jibril waves off his concern, assuring him that only he can see her, and she'll be right there to support him the entire time. His jaw tightens as doubt creeps in. Can this really work? She tilts her head curiously and asks why, despite pulling off such a masterful romance technique on a goddess, he was so direct with the girl on the rooftop. His eyes widen. You were watching. She fumbles, flustered, denying it and quickly apologizing. Then grabbing him by the collar, she yanks him closer and tells him it's time to land. They descend gently and touch down behind a stone pillar near the Academy's combat arena. He mutters under his breath that the girl on the rooftop was his first love. Jibril leans in, asking what he said, but he brushes it off. Gerudal points toward one of the fighters. That's his target. His gaze shifts to the battlefield where a towering man swings brutally, but facing him is a girl wielding two swords, moving with speed and raw fury. She blocks each strike with precision and force, pushing back without hesitation. That fierce girl is Lady Marian Bonnet. Inside the Night Academy, the teacher stands at the front of the classroom, announcing the arrival of a transfer student. Heads turn as murmurs ripple through the class. A transfer student? With a nod, the teacher gestures to the door and introduces him as Haruchika Isazaki, a student from a neighboring country. He steps in, dressed neatly in the Academy's uniform, and walks with practice poised to the front of the room. His voice remains calm and steady as he introduces himself, explaining that due to certain circumstances, his transfer is a bit unusual, but he hopes for their kindness. A quiet flutter spreads through the class. Some girls whisper in awe about his composed aura and refined manner. Could he be royalty in disguise? Listening in, he keeps his expression composed but thinks to himself, first impressions are everything. A gentle smile, a low voice, measured words, and deliberate pauses, all designed to radiate elegance, intelligence, and natural charm. The teacher then calls out to Marian. She raises her hand. Turning back to him, the teacher instructs him to take the seat next to her. As he walks over, she gives a friendly wave and greets him, that he returns the gesture with a polite likewise and takes his seat. Internally, he admits he expected something intense, maybe overwhelming, but she's just cute. Haruchika focuses on Marian, and a translucent screen appears before his eyes, the appraisal skill gifted by Jibril activating instantly. It displays her profile along with her romance value. He nods slightly. This is the tool Jibril gave him, a skill that quantifies romantic potential. All he has to do is raise that number, confident he plans to make his first move during the next break. As the lecture ends and the teacher dismisses the class, Haruchika immediately turns to Marian and starts a conversation. His eyes catch the weapon at her side, his way in. She lights up at the mention of it. She unsheathes the blade with pride, explaining that she designed it herself and had it forged by the finest blacksmith in her territory. The balance, the sharpness, everything about it is top tier, that he listens carefully, offering just the right amount of admiration and praise. It's a textbook approach, hitting all the right cues, but when he glances back at the appraisal screen, the number remains stubbornly at 0. Something isn't working, that he nods in admiration, clearly impressed by her taste in weaponry. Locking eyes with her, he follows up with a compliment on her strength, pairing charm with precision. Marian responds with pride, her expression glowing with confidence. She playfully insists on a first-name basis, signaling a quick familiarity. Haruchika mirrors the gesture, certain he's gained a foothold. Internally, he reviews the exchange, highlighting her strengths, asking about what she's passionate about, affirming her skills that it's a formula he's used countless times, the foundation of emotional connection. Praise, affirmation, subtle admiration. It's basic psychology that as if on cue, Jibril floats nearby, whispering praise for the flawless execution, reaffirming his reputation as a romance expert. But the moment he checks the appraisal screen, his confidence falters. The romance value remains locked at 0, that his expression twitches. That should have worked. It always works. This interaction was textbook, timed perfectly, emotionally tuned, flawlessly delivered. Still nothing. Frustration boils over as he throws up his hands. Jibril tries to calm him, gently reminding him it's only the first day, but the reassurance only irritates him further. He cuts her off sharply, his tone cold and dismissive. The doubt creeps in, maybe the system's broken, or worse, Marian is. Jibril hovers close, uncertain, admitting the reaction, or lack of it, is unusual. It's never happened before. Haruchika rises abruptly, anger flickering in his eyes. Her concern goes ignored as he walks off, brushing past her quiet questions. If the mechanics of the appraisal don't even apply here, then logic won't help. He needs a new angle, a control test. Scanning the corridor, he picks another girl at random. He stares long enough to draw attention. Whispers stir. One girl calls him creepy, the other snaps at him. The reaction is sharp, but predictable. The next morning, as Haruchika strolls down the corridor, several girls wave from a window, giggling and calling his name. Their eyes chime with affection. He grins, checking their affection values, each one maxed at 100. As expected, the only exception is Marian. Since yesterday, he's tested every encounter, every interaction. The girls respond predictably, unguarded, eager, easy to sway. But Marian remains unchanged. She takes the seat beside him in class, casually noting his popularity. He offers a warm smile, lowering his voice as he makes a calculated move to draw her in. She laughs, amused, and casually remarks on the insincerity of his smile. His smirk slips. No reaction, no shift. Nothing gets through. He grits his teeth. Every attempt to unbalance her has failed. That he needs a weakness, some crack in her armor, to regain control. Later outside the training arena, Haruchika stands alone, watching Marian in motion. Her blades move with ruthless precision, her concentration unwavering. He studies her form, the fluidity of her strikes, the sheer intensity behind each movement. The question lingers in his mind. How is he supposed to deal with someone like her? There's no clear answer, but one thing is certain. He has to find one that Marian's voice snaps him out of his thoughts, cutting through the air with practiced authority. She's noticed his distraction and reminds him. This isn't a place to lose focus. That he blinks, grounding himself again, and shifts his gaze to the other students nearby. All of them move with similar precision and discipline. It's overwhelming. Even if he can't keep up with Marian, it's clear that everyone else is far from average. Tightening his grip on the wooden sword, he braces himself, for now he can only observe and learn, mimic what he sees, and absorb what he can. But just as he begins to adjust his stance, Marian steps in with a quick critique. Her assessment of his form is blunt, and she doesn't hold back. He tries to defend himself, but before he can finish the thought, her blade is already at his chin. She's close, smirking with amusement, completely unbothered by the tension that he stands frozen. He hadn't seen her move, hadn't even sensed the shift in distance. For someone who'd reshaped his entire body to be more attractive and athletic, the realization stings. Marian exists on a different level entirely. She tilts her head, curious, her tone laced with suspicion. She knows there's more to him than what he's shown, that no one transfers into a school like this without some kind of edge. Before he can respond, a change ripples through the air. Haruchika turns, instinctively sensing a shift, and freezes. Several boys lie scattered across the training ground, groaning in pain. But it wasn't Marian who defeated them. It is someone else. 5 opponents, 1 victor. The outcome is undeniable. Haruchika stares, disbelief settling in. That level of dominance isn't normal. Marian offers a calm explanation. It was the only way the fight could be considered fair. The one responsible is Dean Callister, acknowledged as the strongest in the night class. Dean stands tall at the center of the arena, calm and intimidating. Opposite him is a younger boy, sword raised with shaky determination. The boy lunges forward, but Dean sidesteps with ease. Frustrated, the boy yells, "Damn it," and charges again, only to be met with a swift, brutal punch to the gut. The boy collapses, unconscious. Dean stares down at him and scoffs. Is that all? This is disgraceful for the capital's Knight Academy. The entire arena falls into stunned silence. Haruchika watches in awe. He's strong. No, this isn't just strength, that he's on a whole different level. Dean's gaze shifts toward him and Marian, and he strides over, his presence heady. Fixing his eyes on her, he speaks with smug certainty that isn't it about time you accepted your fate, Marian? Someone at my standing is willing to marry a woman with a dark past like you. You should be grateful. Marian's response is swift and cutting. She makes it clear she never wanted any part of the engagement. If Dean wants a compliant bride, he can look elsewhere. He smirks and walks off without a word. Haruchika stands frozen, the phrase "take as a wife" echoing in his head. Marian confirms it. Dean is technically her fiancé. Her gaze stays fixed on the ground as she explains. In her family, strength decides everything. Dean's power sealed the arrangement before she had a say. All that remains is a formal duel. If he wins, it's final. But she doesn't want marriage. She wants to be a knight, so she's stalled, refusing to fight, even knowing how it will likely end. Haruchika stares at her, stunned. If even Marian can't win, what kind of monster is Dean? At that, her expression darkens, lips tightening in silent frustration. The temperature drops. Her romance value begins plummeting into the negatives. She erupts at him, furious. His eyes flick to the screen in disbelief. It's dropping. It's actually in the negative. I see how it is. The next morning, she stomps into class and takes her seat beside him. But not a single glance comes his way that he offers a quiet good morning, but she ignores it completely. Not a word, not a nod. Jibril watches the screen in panic, shouting, "What are we gonna do?" It's falling fast that it's in the negative. He glares at her. "Shut up, Jibril. What do you think happens after everything that went down yesterday?" In the memory, Marian's fury had ignited the moment Haruchika coldly implied that refusing to fight was no different from forfeiting. When she protested, he pressed harder, suggesting she just lose and accept the life her family planned. Marriage, children, a quiet future. Her rage exploded. Grabbing his collar, she shouted that she'd rather die than live a life that repulsive. That word, disgusting, echoes in his mind. With no romantic feeling toward him, her reaction makes sense, pure rejection. Now in class, she sits beside him in silence, her anger radiating. Her romance value has dropped to -50, that he clenches his jaw. Another 10 points lost overnight. She stood in it, and it shows. Jibril whispers her concern, but Haruchika stays composed. It's fine, this is just a setback. Love doesn't grow slowly. It strikes all at once that he just needs to find the right spark. She's so furious that her affection plummets to -99, an emotional crater deep enough to freeze the room. She shoots him a glare and orders him to stop looking in her direction. Calmly, he denies it, accusing her of being paranoid. Her fury sharpens. She snaps and calls him garbage. He shrugs, amused, wondering aloud if this is truly the lowest love level possible. Off to the side, Jibril yells an alarm, warning that this isn't just dislike anymore, it's bordering on homicidal rage. He stiffens, knowing there's no going back now. All that remains is the right moment. When she questions him, he assures her the preparations are complete. Just then, the classroom door swings open, and McAllister enters. With his arrival, the stage is set that he marches up the steps and suddenly shouts, pointing him out. He strides to a desk and slams an envelope in front of them, prompting Marian to gasp and demand an explanation. The contents reveal a formal duel challenge that everyone reels. He calmly explains that her family only approves of the strongest suitor, and he doesn't believe that includes McAllister. Marian immediately spins toward him in outrage, yelling that it's none of his business and branding him a nuisance. McAllister scowls, accusing him of having feelings for Marian, that he mocks the idea, calling her a mountain monkey, but insists he won't let someone else claim superiority over him. The other retorts that he never asked for permission in the first place. With a sneer, McAllister declares the match will take place in 7 days, any time, any place, and promises to crush him. Marian is livid, spinning toward him and demanding to know if this is his idea of harassment. Her love level hits -100. He flinches, realizing he's pushed it even further. She tries to remind him that she's already refused the proposal, but he tells her the situation keeps dragging on. He's stepping in to settle it for her. Slamming her hand on the desk, she shouts at the absurdity of his reasoning that he calmly responds that if he wins, she won't have to marry anyone. She shoots back that there's no way he'll win. He adds that even if he loses, she still holds the power to refuse. Furious, she lunges forward, grabbing him by the collar and screaming that he has no right to speak so carelessly. Classmates stare. He meets her gaze and asks, if she's so upset, then why not train him for the next 7 days? She hesitates, but the scene jumps to an outdoor arena where they stand under the morning sun. She snaps at him to shut up or die. He collapses onto the ground, reminding her that forfeiting or fleeing will count as a loss. She levels her sword at him, voice cold that she'll kill him herself if he fails. He begs her to go easy. On the second day, while he's training, she catches him slacking and screams at him to get up that he drops, and she shouts again, demanding why he's resting if he claims he's going to win. Her affection remains at -100. He internally notes that such a score leaves no room for kindness, but that's fine that he didn't get through years of being hated in middle school for nothing. Jabril, watching, comments that it's a pitiful thought. He shoots her a glance and warns her not to read his mind. Marian, relentless, yells again, saying their only shot is to catch McAllister off guard with the first strike. Speed is everything. He locks that advice into his mind, knowing he'll need every edge, that there's no cheat to guarantee victory here. He murmurs that fact to Jabril, who confirms there's no shortcut. He shrugs that it doesn't matter. Winning isn't the real objective. Jabril asks what he means, but Marian interrupts again, shouting for him to stop resting and get back to training. The days pass. 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. Every day is a blur of repetition, pain, and focused preparation at the Bonnet family mansion. She finishes a shower and sinks into the tub, nerves simmering. If she loses, there'll be no explaining things to her father. But even with brutal training, she's surprised that he's shown more resolve than expected. She rests by the window, watching the sky, wondering how it'll all unfold. On the day of the match, the arena is filled with murmurs and excitement that it's the first time since McAllister's last bout. As the crowd buzzes, she steps forward, calling the match a ridiculous farce but agreeing to see it through. He stands opposite her and Marian, quiet but focused. Marian thanks her with dry sarcasm. He reminds himself that victory isn't essential, but giving it his all is. The referee announces that the arena's enchantment will prevent fatal injuries. The match will end when a lethal blow is landed. Both NOD.as the call begins. He breathes deeply and surges forward, sword in hand. McAllister, caught off guard by his unexpected aggression, reacts too slowly. He manages to land a shallow strike across the abdomen. McAllister grits his teeth and snaps, enraged, calling him an insect. With a roar, he charges and lands a brutal punch to the stomach, launching him backward. Blood sprays from his mouth as he crashes to the ground. McAllister scoffs, stating he was going to end it with one move, but now he'll enjoy dragging it out. He pushes himself up with his sword, telling himself to stay conscious and smile. He forces a grin. McAllister roars and lunges again, sword raised, swinging violently. He dodges, barely keeping up. His internal thoughts are clear. This fight isn't about overpowering. It's about provoking. Winning or losing is irrelevant. The goal is to make Marian feel again. He yells in defiance, drawing more fury from McAllister. Blows rain down on him. He's hit hard, flung again, coughing blood, but still he rises. Marian watches, her heart twisting. McAllister scoffs that there's no hope of winning, especially for someone fighting over a girl like her, that he screams back that it's not about that. He realizes that this isn't about affection. It's about proving something deeper. McAllister's attacks grow more vicious. One punch slams into his face, drawing gasps from the crowd. Students whisper that he might actually die. Marian mutters, wondering why he's pushing himself this far, struggling to stand. He thinks that even in hopeless fights, people instinctively root for the one who keeps standing. Marian, too, isn't immune to this human psychology. Her sadness deepens. He believes the moment she supports him, even once, he'll have already won. Then it happens. She screams his name. In that moment, he knows the contradiction between her feelings and her actions has reached its peak. Something snaps, and her affection flips from hatred to full-blown love. The score jumps from -100 to a perfect 100. McAllister is momentarily distracted, caught off guard by her emotional outburst. He seizes the moment. With one final push, he rushes in, closing the distance, and slams his sword into McAllister's head. The blow sends him crashing to the ground. The referee's voice rings out, declaring the winner. But he can't even celebrate. His body gives out, and he collapses. Marian sprints to him, tears rising that he thinks again. Victory was never the true goal. The second she called his name, McAllister had already lost. She rushes forward and drops beside him, falling so suddenly that she lands completely over him, shielding his crumpled form. Jibril cries out, asking what just happened. How did the love level shoot to 100? Beneath Marian, he chuckles quietly, thinking about the strategy he used, the Franklin effect. Jibril asks what that is. He explains it's named after the method employed by the American politician Franklin to convert enemies into allies. Human emotions and actions must align. When someone performs a contradictory act, like supporting someone they hate, their mind will resolve that contradiction by altering the emotion itself. That's what happened here. By pushing her feelings so far into the negative, the backlash was explosive. It was a gamble, but it paid off. Jibril calls him amazing, and he simply nods, asking, how else does she think he was? Finally, Marian lifts her head. She's crying now, calling his name softly. Sitting back, she wipes her face. He tells her it's nothing, brushing it off. But she smiles and thanks him anyway. He responds again. It wasn't something to be thanked for. Then, without warning, she surges forward and kisses him. The arena gasps. When she pulls away, she declares that it was her first kiss. And she gave it to him, that he blurts out that it was his first too. She grins and teases, calling him her partner. He asks if that's a problem, and she shakes her head, hugging him tightly, and saying that having her husband as her first kiss is the best. Is mine racist? Husband? She quickly corrects herself, claiming she misspoke, but then admits she's fallen so hard for him that he must now take responsibility. Winning over her family won't be easy, so he has no choice. He must become even stronger than she is. Hearing all this, he stares blankly, realization sinking in. He's gone too far. This is bad. He overdid it. The next day, as they walk through the school corridor, he carries her in his arms, cupping her gently, her weight light, but the pressure on his nerves heavy. He's visibly flustered, every step uncertain, while she beams with uncontained excitement. Jibril trails beside them, reminding him that not only did he win the duel, but Marian's affection has now reached its peak. Still, he isn't listening. His mind is somewhere else entirely. When Marian runs her fingers along his neck, he tenses up. She tells him she has an incredibly beautiful face. He stammers in confusion. She continues, teasing that maybe this is what flirting looks like. As they enter the classroom, the entire room turns to stare. Whispers rise among the students that he tries to maintain composure and urges her to be a little more mindful of appearances. Placing her carefully in her seat, he suggests she tone it down. But she waves it off, saying worrying about things like that is exactly what led her to this point, that he's confused. She explains that since she defeated McAllister, Haruchika now belongs to her. She leans closer, shoulder brushing his. He mutters that if he doesn't set things straight soon, he'll be surrounded by annoying onlookers. Glancing at the other girls in the room, she mocks that despite him not being much to look at, his love for her is exceptional. He bristles, asking what that's supposed to mean. She goes on, claiming he's weak, arrogant, and has a terrible personality. But his devotion stands out. He sighs, wondering why love is judged with such leniency compared to everything else. She glares, suddenly pointing her sword at him and snapping that it's not about leniency. He dashes aside, agreeing in a panic. She tells him he's now the center of attention. He protests, saying she's exaggerating, but she insists it's no exaggeration. Word is that he's now top of the noble lady's marriage lists. He's stunned. She reminds him to be aware of that fact, and as he tries to put some space between them, she finally sits, musing that the Bonetta family is complicated. Her father was especially fond of Dien, and gaining his approval will require a trick. When he asks what kind of trick, already dreading the answer, she bluntly suggests consummating a relationship that he shoots up in shock, protesting that she's rushing from the first step to the final harvest. She teases that his metaphor was pretty bold. Then, more quietly, she confesses she hasn't really changed, but she is excited, and even she can feel it. It's hard to believe she was once so adamant against marriage. Just as the atmosphere thickens, the teacher steps in, commenting on how well they're getting along and politely asking to begin class. They scramble back to their seats, both flushed. She silently thinks to herself that being told they make a good match is overwhelming. After class, outside under the darkening sky, she asks if he wants to go anywhere. He suggests a date. Her face lights up as she exclaims this is her first after-school date. He's surprised. She admits it's true, hastily putting away her sword. She never imagined herself in this kind of situation. But she's thrilled. Together, they head to the bustling urban district of Merkel, a vibrant stretch of the capital. Marian's enthusiasm bubbles over as they visit different market stalls, sampling all sorts of street food. Sometimes they love it, sometimes not, and once she even chokes from eating too fast, laughing it off as he scolds her gently. They share laughter, warm moments, and subtle glances that say more than words. Eventually, they find themselves standing on a bridge overlooking the shimmering city below. He remarks on the breathtaking view, and she agrees, saying it's been a wonderful day. That he smiles and hands her a necklace, the same one she had admired earlier. Her eyes go wide in surprise. He explains that it looked like she really wanted it. Overwhelmed, she throws her arms around him and tells him to put it on her. Flustered, he fumbles with the clasp as she hugs him tightly. He manages to slip it over her neck. She playfully shoves his shoulder, calling him clumsy. He mutters that he's just not used to this kind of thing. She watches him for a moment and softly says that despite everything, she is genuinely happy later that he walks her back to her home. Just before stepping inside, she waves and says goodbye with a radiant smile. Gibralt appears from the side, watching her go, and asks whether this memory will be enough. Even if she forgets him, Gibralt explains, these feelings might resurface whenever she falls in love again. But seeing the expression on his face, she understands that he's not satisfied. Sensing his hesitation, she offers another option. They could forego the memory wipe and allow him to return after completing his other goals. He doesn't answer right away. His thoughts drift to the past, to the moment he first saw the girl who changed everything that IT was during the final exam results. His name topped the list, just above a girl named Kiriyama. Students gathered around the board, praising her for her high score. But when they saw his name above hers, they dismissed it, calling him a boring glasses-wearing nerd. And then she spoke up. Kiriyama defended him, saying that being at the top meant facing challenges without running away. That simple kindness struck him deeply. From that day forward, he decided to change. Not for others, but for her. Through relentless effort and self-discipline, he transformed. The boy once ridiculed became admired. Girls surrounded him that he was charming, confident, and respected. Yet none of that mattered. He didn't change for fame or popularity, only for her. She was the one. And now, remembering all of that, he tells Gibralt this is where he belongs. She asks if he's sure. He nods firmly, no longer in doubt. The next morning, Marian is back in the training arena, facing 3 opponents. With swift precision, she manages to land a strike on each of them. They fall to the ground, admitting defeat. The instructor declares the match over. She wipes sweat from her brow, catching her breath. From the stands, students watch in admiration. One comments that she's as strong as ever, even when outnumbered. Another whispers that she broke off her engagement with Dean. His friend replies that he's not sure. But something about her seems softer now. Sitting on the edge of the arena, surrounded by friends, she feels calm. And high above, unseen, Haruchika floats in the sky, carried by Gibralt. He looks down at her and whispers goodbye. Somehow she hears it. Looking up, she sees no one, only the sky. But a faint, familiar warmth touches her neck. She reaches up and feels the necklace, something she doesn't remember receiving. Confused, she stares at it in silence. High in the clouds, Gibralt floats beside him, upside down, and says it's time to meet the next girl. Their next destination is the port city of Kurtbers, the 3rd largest city in the country. Waiting there is a new challenge, an Adventurers Guild receptionist named Lillie Fafner. Haruchika sighs, wondering what kind of person she'll be. And then, with a flash of light, they vanish into the sky. At the southern port town of Kurtbers, Gibralt briefs him on the next target, a beastman receptionist named Lillie, stationed at the local Adventurers Guild. Curious, he asks how beastmen are treated in this world, and imagines a wild, feral creature with sharp teeth and claws. Gibralt corrects him, saying that beastmen face prejudice not unlike racial discrimination in his own world. Originating from the northern mountain regions, they're uncommon in a port town like Kurtbers. When he hears that Lillie is rare, he becomes interested. Gibralt explains that her excellence caught the attention of the guildmaster, who personally appointed her. He assumes she must be arrogant, which would make things easier. But Gibralt shakes her head. Lillie isn't the prideful type. In fact, She currently has no adventurer assigned to her. Confused, he asks how that's possible if she's so excellent. Jibril explains the grim truth. All the adventurers she managed have died, one after another. She's nicknamed the Death Lady and avoided by everyone. He laughs, dismissing it as bad luck, then mutters that if she's been weakened by rejection, she'll be easier to approach. Jibril frowns, warning him that what he's saying is cruel. Standing before the Adventurers Guild, he declares that it's time for the operation to begin. Inside, Lillie spots him immediately and wonders aloud if he's a new adventurer. A friendly waitress approaches him and asks if it's his first visit. He confirms it is, and that he's here to register. She leads him toward the counter, but he pauses, asking if she would be the one managing him. When she says yes, he points at Lillie and insists he prefers her instead. The woman's face drops. Lillie is caught off guard, and the waitress snaps that they don't take selfish requests. He shrugs and smirks, saying it's only natural to choose someone who fits his taste. Chaos erupts, assuming he's surrounded by angry men, one of whom demands to know why he rejected the popular Kayla in favor of someone with such a cursed reputation. When he's told Lillie is jinxed, he calmly states that if he breaks the curse, the matter ends. The man grabs him by the collar, warning him not to act so cocky. But he brushes it off as unwelcome advice that he walks confidently up to Lillie and declares that he wants her. She hesitates, confused and overwhelmed. He repeats himself, calmly reassuring her that he won't die. She protests. Everyone says that at first, but he presses on, saying that if he does die, then she can grieve then. After all, if he dies, so does everyone. She scoffs, asking how confident he really is. He responds with a smirk, saying she's too reckless to ignore. Exasperated, she finally gives in, handing him the registration documents. Around them, onlookers are stunned. No one expected anyone to willingly partner with her. Outside, Jibril watches from a distance and remarks that contact has been established. He confirms it, but seems troubled. When she asks what's bothering him, he reveals he used his appraisal skill when they parted, and her affection level rose to 32. Jibril is shocked. It's far higher than Marian's ever was, even after everything he did for her. He reflects on how, without thinking, he used subconscious tactics to increase Lillie's favor, by rejecting another receptionist and choosing Lillie. He made her feel superior. That alone can stir attraction. Everyone witnessed it, and validation always heightens emotional response that he then wonders aloud whether they've targeted the wrong girl this time. Jibril assures him they haven't, but acknowledges that the circumstances with Marian were different. He agrees, saying things seem to be going too smoothly now. The first request, predictably, is to gather herbs, a tired trope in isekai stories. Jibril scolds him for mocking divine guidance, but he tunes her out and studies a map. A forest half a day west contains the herbs he needs, 20 plants in total. Jibril reminds him she can conjure herbs easily, but he pokes her nose and insists that building trust is crucial. Using cheats would be too obvious, and girls sense dishonesty. The next day, at the guild, Kayla confronts Lillie. She accuses her of breaking her vow never to take on another adventurer. Lillie calmly explains that she made that vow to avoid causing harm, but this new adventurer said he'd be her last chance, and that he'd never die. She wanted to believe him. Kayla warns her that overconfidence leads to regret, especially since he's a total novice. He only qualified for the lowest rank, and his first mission is simple herb gathering. She laughs, but Lillie admits she was surprised too. Just then he enters, announcing his return. Lillie rushes to him in panic, asking if he's hurt. He reassures her that he's fine, though inside he's thinking how dramatic she's being. Meanwhile, Jibril notes to herself that the herb colony was perched on a cliff, and she had to secretly make him float to keep him from falling. Lillie drops to the floor, relieved and tearful. She says that if anything had happened to him, she wouldn't have forgiven herself, that he brushes it off as an overreaction. Certain this means her affection has skyrocketed. But when he checks, it's at 0. He freezes. She asks what's wrong. He fumbles a response, saying it's nothing, but internally he's shaken. How could it be 0? She clearly cared. He wonders if he did something to offend her. He bends down, lowering his voice, and tells her he wants to discuss something privately. She suggests they talk somewhere alone. He gently holds her hand and invites her to dinner. While they're at it, he asks for a restaurant recommendation. She smiles and says she's free. But he cuts in, saying he just doesn't want to eat alone in a common room. She laughs softly and calls him hopeless. Agreeing to go with him, she says she'll exchange the herbs for money and meet him soon. He waits at a nearby table. Jibril appears, whispering that Lillie accepted the invitation a little too easily. He smirks, thinking to himself that it wasn't luck, it was orchestrated. He explains that girls enjoy sharing their knowledge and feeling useful. Asking for a restaurant recommendation tapped into her instinct to guide and protect. Coupled with his feigned vulnerability about eating alone, she instinctively saw him as someone worth looking after. He points out the result. The affection level has increased. Just then Lillie returns, slightly dressed up. She apologizes for the wait, and they head out. On the way, Kayla and several other women spot them, glaring with jealous eyes. During dinner, they sit side by side, sharing a meal and casual conversation. They stroll through the night-lit town afterward. By the end of the evening, her affection has climbed to 70. Jibril, astonished, praises him for the unexpected leap. The next morning, Jibril reminds him of the progress. If this continues, the goal might be reached by today. He confidently agrees. After all, they had a private dinner. Who wouldn't fall for that? At the guild the next morning, Lillie greets him cheerfully. But when he checks her affection level, it has reset to 0. He falls to his knees, speechless. Lillie greets him warmly, asking him to take care again today. But as he watches her, his thoughts spiral. Just yesterday, her affection level had soared past 70. How had it fallen back to 0 overnight? While she explains their destination, a beginner dungeon already cleared, but now used for routine extermination, his mind drifts to analyzing the situation. The affection rate had plateaued around 70 during their time together. But once they parted, it plummeted. Could it be that separation causes her affection to decay? Before he can focus, he notices his distracted expression and gives a resigned smile. Muttering that maybe what she says isn't worth listening to. He snaps to attention, hurriedly denying it and repeating her explanation, trying to cover his lapse. She seems relieved and continues, warning that even low-level dungeons can be dangerous if underestimated. He mutters that she sounds like a true warrior. She quickly refutes that, insisting she's not one. She grabs his hand and pleads. It's fine to fail or even run away, as long as he comes back alive. He chuckles awkwardly, saying it's not very encouraging coming from a guild staff member. But she grows serious and insists she means it. Touched, he places a hand on her shoulder, promising to return properly and asking her to see him off with a smile. She nods and wishes him safety. Later, en route to the dungeon, Jibril floats beside him. She brings up the differences between how love manifests in individuals. He agrees, noting that despite both being targets, Marian and Lillie are completely different. Marian's affection stayed stubbornly low until a sharp reversal, while Lillie's rises easily but collapses when left alone. Jibril asks if the same method might work on Marian, and he scoffs, calling her an idiot. He explains Marian's strong-willed nature means she only responds to actions that clash with her emotions, not pity or proximity. Lillie, on the other hand, would never hate him enough to drop to -100 unless he did something horrific. For now, his plan is to keep spending time with Lillie. There's no shortcut. Her nickname, Death Lady, and her desperation make her an interesting case. Jibril shifts the topic back to exterminating goblins. He groans, saying he would rather avoid it. Not because they're strong, but because, as someone raised in modern Japan, the idea of killing, even fantasy monsters that resemble humans, is disturbing. Jibril points out that many reincarnated heroes don't seem to mind. He sighs, replying that those guys are just broken inside. They finally arrive at the dungeon entrance. A large warning banner hangs over the gate. Danger to life beyond this point. Entry forbidden except by guild authorization. As they descend the stairs, Jibril confirms that only goblins are supposed to appear on the first basement floor, and that the two of them will sweep it clean. The dungeon is brighter than expected, thanks to magical lighting Jibril set up earlier. As they move forward, a strange noise echoes down the corridor. He draws his sword, tense, but as they reach the corridor's end, nothing is there. He brushes it off and pushes ahead, walking recklessly. Jibril shouts a warning, seeing where he's about to step, but it's too late. His foot lands just at the edge of a deep pit. He manages to catch himself with a startled shout and pulls back. They peer into the chasm. It's clearly an old trap, already triggered. Jibril says she can't see the bottom. He mutters that someone must have fallen in. And she alerts him. 2 goblins spotted straight ahead. He squints but can't see them. She smirks, saying her angelic senses give her superior vision. He grumbles that being an angel doesn't justify cheating. Steeling himself, he grips his sword and charges forward, slashing both goblins down in one fluid motion. Jibril praises him, but he feels uneasy. The action was too easy, and something doesn't sit right. Then they hear footsteps, multiple sets, from both directions. Jibril says someone's approaching from the front and behind. He remarks that she didn't see them. She replies that her angelic hearing caught it, that he teases her, calling it devilish rather than angelic. The sound of footsteps grows louder. People in hoods with swords emerge from both ends of the corridor that he yells, asking who they are. But they don't respond. They charge without hesitation. Suddenly, his mind flashes back to Marian's brutal training. He remembers lying exhausted on the ground while she insulted him, saying he was a coward with no real combat sense, barely better than a child. If he wanted to stay alive, she had warned him, he'd have to stop being scared. Now standing between two charging groups of armed attackers, he clenches his fists, repeating her words. With renewed resolve, he dives into combat. Despite being clearly outnumbered, he blocks, dodges, and counters with everything he has. But their intent is lethal. He realizes this isn't just a brawl. They're trying to kill him. Compared to Marian and McAllister, though, they don't feel overwhelming. Even so, 6 opponents put him at a disadvantage. He wonders what their goal is. Just as Jibril prepares to teleport them away, he whispers something into her ear, then sprints toward the group on the left. He punches one assailant, parries another's sword, but he can't avoid all of them. A blade slashes across his back. Still, he doesn't stop, he runs. Behind him, one of the attackers yells, furious, ordering the others to chase. But Harajuki is already leaping. His goal isn't to fight, but to escape. He dives into the very pit trap he nearly fell into earlier. The attackers freeze, stunned. They shout that he's a fool, that it's over for him. But unbeknownst to them, Jibril activates the teleportation spell mid-fall. In a flash, he vanishes. Moments later, he awakens in his room. Blinking, he sits up and groans. Jibril confirms they're back at Carterburg, that he sighs in relief, they made it. But he shakes his head, saying that at this rate he won't survive long. Jibril questions why he waited until the fall to teleport, that wouldn't it have been safer to do it earlier? He grins and says, they need to think I'm dead. Then his voice lowers, because he saw it, a way to make Lillie fall for him. I know it's been a while, I was in denial about my love. Here I stand, I know I walked away, I had to find the person I'd become.